And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to develop the ability to identify chord progressions by ear. So I have a backing track here, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to go ahead and pick out the chord progression here. Try to identify the root notes here and here. Try to listen to the bass. Focus on the bass line. It sounds like a boom, like that is the root note right there. Okay, whatever it is, that's the root note. Boom. Now if I sing the major scale, boom, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Or I'll count with numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to try to figure out what the interval is between the first note and the second note. And it sounds like boom, 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 boom. So in my head, I could hear an arpeggio there. Boom, because I always sing this major arpeggio. Boom, 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 boom. And it sounds like it's a third. Boom, boom, boom. Or you could count up the scale. Boom, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3. So there's a third. Boom, boom, boom. So we know that it's going to be it's a 1 to a 3. And then the next note was, let's listen again. Boom, 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 boom. So we'll sing the scale again. Boom, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Boom, boom, boom. So it sounds like a 6. Boom, boom, boom. So we have a boom, boom, 3, 6, 6. Let's get that last note again. Actually, I remember. Boom, boom. So let's see. In our heads, we got the root note. Boom. And this fourth chord. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. It sounds like, to me, it sounds like a fourth because that's the wedding theme. Boom, 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 boom. Right. So I always remember a fourth by thinking about the wedding theme. Boom, 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 boom. And that sounds really complete because it's resolving to a 1 chord. Now let's transfer this here to guitar. And the way you could pick out the keys, you could just go up chromatically here. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Thank you very much. Let's play the track. Start again when I get that first chord. So, first chord, G, right there. So I know it's going to go up, it's a 1, so it's in G. And I know the second chord is going to be a 3. It's going to be a B, boom. Then the third chord is going to E, boom. And then a C. It's the fourth. So that's the progression right there. G, B, or you can just go up and find the notes chromatically. Right there. E. C. Okay. So we know it's a 1, 3, 6, 4 progression. Because the notes of the scale starting at G got G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Starting again. So G, A, B. B is the third. B, C, D, E is the sixth. C is the fourth. G, A, B, C would be the fourth degree. So now we have to now that we know the notes, the bass notes here, we have to distinguish whether these chords are major or minor. And that all comes down to simply just knowing the 7 chords of the diatonic key, which I always talk about all the time. Basically, if you have the G major scale, if you start on G and you play the G major scale right up the E string, you go 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished, and then back to the root again. So it's not like major chord. You can play bar chords here, like this major chord. The 2 is minor. The 3 is minor. The 4 is major. The 5 is major. The 6 is minor. The 7th is diminished. You can never get that chord up here. It's too big, too small for my big fingers. There it is down there. And then back to the 1. Okay. So it's a 1, 3. I could play it here. 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E minor right there, or E minor down here. And then 4, C right here, or here. So if you played it all on the bar chords on the low E string, it would sound like this. 3, 6, 4. And then once resolved here. So we know we have a 1, 3, 6, 4 progression in the key of G. It's just like this. B minor, E minor, C. Distinguishing these chords between major and minor really just comes down to knowing the 7 chords of the diatonic key, and they're all the same right there. I mean, once you know the major scale, that formula is always the same. You know, part of this is just recognizing chord progressions. You know, after a while you start hearing these and you'll start just recognizing that a lot of them are really common, you know, whether it's a 1, 4, 5 progression or something like this where it's a 1, 3, 6, 4 progression, or 2, 5, 1s. You know, a lot of them, you know, you've heard those progressions many, many, many times in your life, and a lot of them have cadences, which are like a strong resolution to something. You know, like in this case, this cadence is really the 4 chord back to the 1 here. Really wants to resolve. It's going somewhere. Hear that? So when I hear that, I just know that it's a 4 going down to a 1. You start to recognize those patterns and formulas here. So any questions about this stuff, let me know. It has a lot to do with a lot of tension and release that's leading back to the 1 chord. And that's how, in this progression, we know that that G chord is the 1 chord. And so it's really good doing this to practice and develop your ear. And the more you do this, the more you just pick up songs on the radio, or however you listen to music these days. You know, you're sitting back listening to Apple Music or Spotify, whatever, and just sitting there jam along with your favorites bands. You know, and just try to just listen, do a lot of listening, and try to figure out what the chords are. You know, but once you know, like the circle of fifths, or just this easier than that, simpler than that, it's just the 7 chords of the diatonic key, because that's really all the circle of fifths is. It's the 7 chords of the diatonic key, but it shows you in a circle throughout all of the keys, you know, in fifths, or backwards going in fourths. So I do have another progression. Difference. What's happening? All right. Let's have a listen to this progression. Get it in our head. Boom. Do the same thing that we did in the last verse. Boom, 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 listening for the bass, focusing on the bass note. Or how about it's too low. Go up an octave. Let's see, we'll sing the major scale. So it feels already like boom, like that is the one. That's the key right there. Boom, boom, boom. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Boom, boom, boom. So what is that? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. There it is again. There's the wedding thing. Boom, 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 boom. So we know it's a fourth. So boom, 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 boom. So what's that note? Boom, boom. That is a fifth. Boom, because you could also count it. Boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or how I do it, I remember these intervals by thinking of a song. Boom, boom. I mean, how many songs have that? Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? 1, 5, octave 5, 1. Or Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, I believe. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, I wonder where you are. Twinkle, twinkle. There's a fifth. Dun, dun, dun. Fourth. Dun, dun, boom. So hear it again. Boom, 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 boom. So it sounds like a 1, 4, 5, which is a very common progression in music. So once you hear these, you'll start to go, wow, that's just a 1, 4, 5 progression. You know, you won't even need your guitar or anything to figure that out, that progression. Just hear it. So if you want to translate that, play along with it here. I'll go chromatically up the neck here. Okay, try it again. So it sounds like a C is the first note. I know it's a 1, 4, 5 in C. Let's play along with it and see. We discovered that it's a 1, 4, 5 progression, C, F, G. And the way that we identify that is, the 1, and once again, in the key of C, if you play the major scale, C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to the root again. And remember, 1, major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished, back to the 1 again, or diminished down here, back to the 1. So if you count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's the 4th, 5, there's your 5th right there. Figuring out how to figure out chord progressions by ear. It's a great practice and training to develop your ear. Transcribing simple songs is really the way to go. listening to just easy chord progressions and trying to figure out, what the numbers are, and trying to establish the root notes first. I think it's really important, just because, this is what it's all about, right? Music, it's about listening. Number one, developing your ear to get in there and hear those progressions. Listen to what sounds right in there. Listen to what sounds wrong. It's just as important. That's what it's all about. Hearing the chord progression, hearing it in your head, translating it to guitar, establishing the key, knowing the chords that you have in the key, and then you could, from there, start learning all the triads and the major scale and start playing, jamming, and having a good time, making some music. That's what it's all about. I will mention briefly about my guitar course. It's called the Essential Skills Collection for Guitar, and there's 4 sections. Fretboard memorization, where I show exactly how to find all the notes easily all over the fretboard. The circle of fifths, which, like I was saying, explains all of the keys that we're talking about, 7 diatonic keys in the circle, all 12 keys going in fifths. And there's a section on blues where we talk a lot about vibrato and feel, bending in tune, things like that. And that's really, really important. There's lots of backing tracks in there and graphs in there. And then we do the cage system, which is really, really an important subject. Check that out. The link is in the description if you're interested in that. Essential Skills Collection for Guitar. Thank you very much. I do have a question. How do you learn songs? Do you use your ear, or do you search online for chords, or do you do both? A lot of times I'll do both. I'll use my ear and I'll use my guitar, but sometimes there's some songs where it's just like, I just can't figure out what that, it's some weird inversion or some kind of slash chord. And I don't mean Guns N' Roses. And so I'll go online, whatever. So let me know how you figure out how you learn songs. Thanks, guys. Remember, be cool, be kind, be cherry. And if you want to see another video where you'll learn how to identify chord progressions by ear, I'll put that right up there. So love yous. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.